Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Hope you enjoy yourself.
This is a story about the power of faith of the villagers of Bhavapur and their reverence for the forces of nature. Long ago, in a valley nestled between towering mountains, there lay a small village named Bhavapur. The villagers were simple folk, living off the land and worshipping the great mountain god, Bhavapur, who was said to watch over them from the highest peak. For centuries, they had believed that as long as their faith remained strong, the mountain would protect them from all harm. One day, dark omens spread across Bhavapur. The river, once a source of life, had begun to dry, crops withered in the fields, and a restless wind howled through the valley at night. The village elders gathered in the temple to consult the sacred texts, and their worst fears were confirmed. The mountain was awakening. If Bhavapur was angered, the very ground they stood on might tremble and bury their village beneath an avalanche of rock. A proclamation was made. A grand offering must be prepared, and the entire village must come together to pray. But doubt had taken root in the hearts of some. Among them was Dhanraj, a young man who had grown weary of old beliefs. Prayers and offerings, he scoffed. The mountain does not listen. If it rumbles, it is because of forces beyond our control. We should flee before it is too late. Some villagers wavered at his words, but an elderly woman, Deepa, stepped forward, her eyes filled with unwavering faith. The mountain has protected us for generations, and it shall continue to do so if we hold firm. The test of faith is not in easy times but in hardship. Stay and believe. The village divided. Some, like Deepa, prepared for the ritual, while others, led by Dhanraj, packed their belongings and set off in search of safer lands. The night of the offering arrived. The villagers gathered at the temple, lighting lamps and singing hymns, their voices carrying into the starless sky. The elders poured fragrant oils onto the sacred fire, and Deepa knelt, pressing her forehead to the ground. As the final prayer was uttered, the earth shuddered. A deafening crack split the night, and a terrible roar echoed from the mountain. The villagers gasped in fear, but not one of them ran. They held on to their faith, whispering prayers, believing with all their hearts that Bhavapur would not forsake them. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the tremors ceased. The villagers looked up to see a miracle. The landslide that had begun to rush down the mountainside had stopped, as though an invisible hand had stilled it. Not a single stone reached their homes. The river, too, began to flow again, its waters rich and abundant. Days later, a weary and battered group returned, Dhanraj and those who had left. They had faced terrible hardships, landslides, storms, and wild beasts had plagued their journey. When they saw the untouched village, the thriving river, and the smiling faces of those who had remained, they fell to their knees in shame and awe. Deepa approached Dhanraj, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. Faith is not about seeing, my child. It is about believing, even when everything tells you not to. Dhanraj, humbled and moved, bowed before the temple of Bhavapur. I was blind in doubt and fear, but now I see. Faith is not merely words. It is the force that carries us through the darkness. I will never doubt again. The villagers welcomed back those who had left, and together, they rebuilt their homes and strengthened their bonds. The story of the great trial spread far and wide, and travelers from distant lands came to witness the village that had defied disaster through faith alone. Bhavapur flourished for generations, its people unwavering in their devotion, and the mountains stood tall, unshaken, just like the hearts of those who had never wavered. Moral of the story: faith is not just blind belief, but an unshakable trust in the unseen, a force that can steady hearts in the face of despair. True faith does not demand proof, it gives strength, courage, and resilience in times of crisis. Those who abandon faith out of fear find themselves lost, but those who hold on to it become the pillars of strength for themselves and others. Just as Bhavapur stood firm in its devotion, so too can faith move obstacles that seem insurmountable, not by force, but by the power it instills in those who believe.
Thanks for watching and enjoying our inspiring videos. If you like our stories, do pull in your likes and wonderful comments about your views. Also, don't forget to subscribe now for more interesting content. Have a nice day. Let's meet again soon. Take care.